So welcome everybody to Namaste Yoga's live stream of our class today. We'll be doing a little bit of balancing, so if you have access to a wall, to some blocks, to a strap or a hand towel, those might be great props for you to have today as we move through the practice. So Ceca is beginning today in Shavasana. You can start in pretty much any position that you like. If you want to fold the soles of your feet in and knees apart, if that works better for you, you can do that. You can tuck blocks under those knees if you need it, or just be right there. So as I've been stuck in the house, there are a lot of projects that I had hoped to finish before Aiden graduated from high school, so I would have things done for his graduation party, and so I'm getting a little bit of a head start on those projects. And one of them is my basement. I call it my craft closet, and my husband calls it the crap closet. So today I ordered, I'm not even going to say how many bins to do that. I've also been watching a lot of HGTV, so that's not good for our budget, but really good for the quality of life we have at home. I'm decluttering things like a mad woman. One of my favorite shows is Tiny House. I love when they build the little tiny houses and how much stuff they can make space for and what they have to get rid of. And I consider my yoga mat like my tiny house. And in my tiny house, I can control where everything goes. I can control where my arms and legs go, how free my breath and mind are. And I have this little bit of control on my yoga mat, because once I get off the mat, my control kind of goes out the window, especially during the time that we're experiencing right now. So as much as I'm telling you what to do on your yoga mat today, it's really up to you to take control. And you can take my advice or not. Ultimately, the experience is yours and yours alone. So think of your mat today as your tiny house. And you have this little bit of control while you're there. Begin to draw your knees in towards your chest. Hug them in, and maybe rock a little bit from side to side. Grab your strap or your hand towel or whatever you have, and begin to loop it on the sole of your right foot. And with one strap in each hand, start to bend and stretch that leg. Extend up and bend your knee. And notice how your hips and hamstrings are feeling this morning. Keeping the shoulders really relaxed on the earth. Breath is free. Stretch straight up through that right leg now and place both straps in your right hand. Keep your left knee bent for now because it is the beginning of the practice, and begin to extend that leg out to the right. And we're just hanging out here and breathing and noticing what might be going on with that right hip this morning. And slowly begin to bring that leg back up and to center. And release the strap from your right leg. Give your knee a little hug in. And extend your right leg and your left leg long. And notice which side feels a little bit more open. Extend them down and along the earth. So let your heels rest on the floor. And stretch your arms up and above your head. Take a nice full body stretch here. Waking up to your morning. You might have just crawled down here in your pajamas and doing a little yoga with us this morning, so welcome. Nice, and then bend your knees again, keeping the right knee bent. Loop the strap on the sole of your left foot this time. And again, take time to play a little bit here. So bend and stretch. Place both straps in your left hand and place your right hand on top of your right hip. Keep your right knee bent and the sole of the right foot on the floor as you extend the left leg to the left. And again, we're just hanging out here to notice the differences between your hips, to notice how the hip and hamstrings on the left leg is feeling. Notice any sensations, see if you can breathe into it. And again, you do have a little bit of control here when you're on your yoga mat. Consider it your tiny house this morning. We're decluttering the body at no cost to you, which is nice. You didn't have to order bins off of Amazon this morning like I did. One more long breath in and out. And slowly begin to bring that leg back to center. Release the strap. Hug your knee in. And again, lengthen both legs up to the sky. And slowly release them down to the floor. Stretch your arms above your head one more time, noticing whether your legs feel a little more balanced now or perhaps still a little imbalanced. Notice that too. Begin to flip yourself over now onto your belly. We're coming into a Sphinx pose. So draw those elbows right underneath your shoulders. We want a long line from the elbow to the shoulder. Soften the shoulder blades onto the back of your heart. And imagine that you could pull your hands and your elbows back towards your hips to expand the center of your chest forward. Feel your toenails root into the floor, your belly peel up and away from the floor. Take a nice easy breath in here and an easy breath out. Take another breath in and slowly slide your hands underneath your shoulders, forehead to the floor. Curl back to either child or puppy pose. So in puppy, the hips float right up over the knees and we walk those fingertips forward. It literally looks like your puppy stretching in the morning sun, right? That's exactly what my Penny does before I let her out in the morning. Otherwise, you can sink your hips back onto your heels for child's pose if the puppy pose feels awkward in any way for you. So either one will do. With your next breath, begin to come into a table pose, sliding your shoulders over the heels of your hands, hips directly over your knees. Ceca's going to take her Jim Tomey socks off. Again, it was supposed to be opening day for the tribe today, so our homage to the tribe today with Ceca's wardrobe. I appreciate her finding stuff in her house to wear today. Begin to take a little peek over your right shoulder, look at your right hip, and take a peek over your left shoulder. Notice how the lateral side body is feeling this morning. And bring it back to center. Curl into cat, but hang out there for a full length of breath. Feel your head drop down, your tail drop down, toes can be curled or uncurled. And pull your belly in towards your spine. And as you come to the bottom of that breath, float into a little cow pose. So let your belly and your ribs drop. Your chest reaches forward, your tailbone and head reach up. And hang out here and notice how the spine feels in this shape. Begin to move between the two now, between cat on the exhale and cow on the inhale. Find some flexibility and movement through your spine, your side body, your hips. As you come back to a neutral spine, begin to float yourself back down onto your belly. Reach your fingertips forward, so shoulder to elbow to fingertips reach long, and your toes reach straight back. Tap into the middle of your body now. Feel your navel lift up towards your spine. Energize your legs a little bit. So feel your quads engaged. Yeah, maybe lengthen back through each foot, through each leg long, and relax your shoulders onto your back. Press down into your left hand and into your right toes. Lift your right hand and your left toes. Take your gaze just barely forward of the front of your mat and slowly release as you exhale. Do the other side. Lift your left hand and your right toes, anchoring into the other two limbs, and slowly release. Continue to move on your breath. So inhale, expand and lift. Exhale, lower and settle. Inhale, expand and lift. Exhale, lower and settle. This is a really awesome low back therapeutic. Continuing with the breath and keeping some engagement to your core. So between a gentle cat and cow and this floating locust pose, alternating arms and legs, if your low back is a little cranky, this is a nice way to release some of that stress. And last time here, left arm, right leg. And slowly lower to the floor. Bend your elbows, make a pillow for your forehead, bend your knees, and wiper your feet. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, lengthen your legs back and curl your toes. And this time we're going to stretch all the way up to a downward facing dog. So lifting those hips away from the floor, knees away from the floor. Bend your knees, stretch your legs, and pedal this one out. So when we say walking the dog, what the heck does that mean? So for those of you who might be a little newer to yoga, when we pedal out the dog, we bend deeply into one knee to stretch back into the other heel. Not in a harsh way, in a sweet way. Playing, exploring. Ruth calls it being the sommelier of your body. So if you know when you go order a bottle of wine and you have the sommelier helping you to explore those options, be the sommelier of your body this morning. Or maybe barista, since it's 9:15 in the morning, we'll go that direction. Bring yourself back to hands and knees in table pose and step forward with your right foot between your hands. Now, if you want to bring a block in, if you have it, that's fine. It can also be the arm of a couch or an ottoman, whatever you have, so that you can stay a little lower to the floor, but uplifted enough that you can stretch your chest forward. You can also do that by bringing your hands to your thigh, like Ceca just did. Settle into your hips, breathe, and stack your head over your heart and over your hips. Tap into your core a little bit more. Relax your shoulders. Maybe stretch your arms up. Turn your palms to face one another, pinky fingers forward. Perhaps you can start to curl those shoulder blades behind your heart any amount and lift your heart. And maybe not. Maybe you're still on the earth with hands on the blocks or on an ottoman, and that's totally cool too, because you're in your tiny house right now. You do have a little bit of control there. And slowly release your hands down to meet the earth. Pause right here for a moment. Adjust your stance if you need it. If you can wiggle back through your left knee, do that. And bring your hands back up to that right thigh. Stretch your arms long just to create some length now. And we're taking both hands. You can interlace your hands and tuck them over to that right hip for a really easy, sweet little twist. Yeah, so you can come to prayer like Ceca did, or you can place your hands right on that right hip like you're turning to face someone that you're having a chat with, a conversation with, of course from 6 feet away. Easy little twist. Take another long breath in and out here. And as you inhale, slowly unwind that twist. Frame your foot with your hands, and we're stepping back to a downward facing dog. And again, puppy dog or table are always good options for this. So if you have shoulder injuries, wrist injuries, you can come down to forearms, or you can come down to table or dog. So feel free to modify as needed. Again, remember that your mat this morning and every morning and evening that you come to it is your island, your place of refuge. So consider it your tiny house, decluttering your body this morning, and do what you need to do. Come back to hands and knees. Step your left foot between your hands, coming into low lunge one more time. Other side. And again, if you need to bring the blocks in, bring your blocks in. Bring your hands up onto your thighs. So settle in whatever way makes the most sense for you. And just hanging out, noticing your sensations in the front of the right hip, in the outer left hip. Float your arms up to the sky, palms face one another. And again, maybe you're not where Ceca is this morning. Maybe your hands are still on the floor, and that's totally cool too. We're exploring together. Maybe you can curl your heart up any amount more, staying tapped into the strength of your core. Beautiful. Take another breath in here and release your hands down to futz around and wiggle a little bit. So maybe wiggle back through that right knee and pick it up. Maybe you want to uncurl the toes at this point. Notice where you've created some space. And bring your hands back up to your thigh again. Settle in. We're coming in for that twist. So reach your arms up to lengthen and take the twist that works for you. So maybe you're crossing your right elbow or just putting your hands on the side of your left hip. All good choices. Just make the one that works for you. It might be a little wiggly this morning. Still early. Again, maybe in your pajamas. Maybe you're taking that sip of coffee while you're waiting for the pose to change, and that's all good too. With your next breath in, slowly reach your arms up and bring your hands down to frame your foot. We're stepping back again to a downward facing dog. And pedal that out. Bend and stretch your legs. Float forward into a plank pose. Now for some of you, you're just going to float into the toes and come down. Ceca's going to come down knees and chest and chin. So especially for people with shoulder injuries, that is a much better option for you. So take that. Hands underneath the shoulders. She's lengthening back through the tops of her legs. Lift your heart for a cobra pose. Cobra, again, this is a pose to explore. So maybe you're stretching the chest forward, shoulders back. Maybe you're lifted a little higher, or maybe you're barely floating your forehead away from the floor. It's all cobra pose. Slowly release. Stretch back again, downward facing dog. Table or puppy pose are also good options. Float yourself forward again, high plank pose. Let's hang out here for a couple of breaths. Again, exploring, decluttering the body. Shoulders are over the elbows, over the heels of the hands. Again, if you've got wrist issues, you can always come down to forearms or maybe drop your knees, and that'll be kinder. Take one more breath wherever you are and come back down to the floor, cobra pose. Hands underneath your shoulders and begin to stretch that chest forward. Roll your shoulders back and anchor into the tops of your feet. Slowly release, coming back to a downward facing dog. Come way up on your tippy toes, bend your knees deeply, and look up to your thumbs. You can tiptoe yourself up there or hop up there, coming into a forward fold. Deeply bend your knees for this first forward fold. Bow in and begin to explore from here. So stretch the legs, notice the hamstrings. We've done a little bit of work there. Bend your knees again. And stretch your legs, lift your hips, and give yourself permission to play in your practice. Bring your hands up and above your knees. Press your spine long. So coming to that halfway lift, reach the head forward and the tail back. Notice how Ceca has that beautiful L shape in her body. She's connected to her core. Exhale, release, coming all the way back down. Let's do that to the pace of the breath and movement of your body. Hands above the knees, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. This time we're rising all the way up. Stretch your arms up, reach up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Ceca's going to turn to face you all, and she's going to take her left arm and reach it up and next to her ear. Oh, there we go. She's going to teach opposite. Spinning the pinky finger in, she'll relax that left shoulder down her back and reach her hand to place it on the back of her heart. So she's super long through that whole left side. Taking the opposite hand and placing it on her elbow, she'll give a tiny little press down and almost spin that tricep in towards her ear, just to get a little bit more engaged and aligned through her left side. Anchoring into her left foot, she'll bend over to the right, so reaching that elbow to the right side of the room. Finding a little crescent moon with a half cow face on. Feel the whole left side of the body stretch and open. Draw your belly in. Maybe she'll take her gaze to the floor. Maybe she'll take it up and beyond that left arm. With your next breath, slowly rise up. Slowly release the arm as slowly as you came in. And give your arms a little shrug, a little shake. Nice. And take the right arm all the way up and next to the ear. Spin your pinky finger in and relax your shoulder. Begin to place the right hand at the back of the heart. Relax again. Take the left hand and sweep it all the way up to cap the right elbow and give a little plug and a little spin in so the tricep comes closer to the ear. Take a little stretch over to the left, anchoring into the right foot, and really reaching long through those right ribs. And again, she can take her gaze down to the floor or up and beyond her right elbow and arm. If you've got neck and shoulder tension, I'm sure no one out there has neck and shoulder tension, right? Because we're all living free and easy right now. Maybe taking it to the floor is a better option for you. And with her next breath, she'll rise back up. And slowly release. Again, shrug your shoulders a few times. Release some of that neck and shoulder tension. And with your inhale, stretch your arms up. Palms turn forward. Lift your heart up any amount. And return your hands to heart center. And you can turn and face the side of your mat again. Beautiful. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up. And exhale through heart center, forward fold. Bend your knees. Inhale to lift up halfway. And exhale to let go. Step back to a plank pose. Now you have the opportunity here to flow through. So for some of you, love to flow through. So you can come knees, chest, chin, chaturanga to a back bend, or you can just come back to table or puppy or downward facing dog. Skip the flow. Hanging out here for a couple of breaths. So you can do this from table or from dog pose. Extend your right leg, three-legged dog or three-legged table. So Ceca's demoing table, and now she'll come back up and do a three-legged dog. See if you can really press out through the sole of that right foot and turn your toes down towards the floor. Imagine that you're standing on the left foot, pressing out through the right foot, reaching forward with the hands, keeping the shoulders soft. Take a breath in here, curl your right knee in and step through, rise up to warrior two. So planting that left heel in line with the right heel. Now Ceca has a block behind her foot. So if you have a block, place the block at the highest level behind your right foot. If you don't have a block, don't worry about it. You're just gonna hover your hand. Begin to place your right elbow on your right thigh. Now she's not mirroring you right now and I forgot to tell her to. So we're gonna place the right elbow on the right thigh. You can stretch your left arm straight up, or you can stretch your hand up and above the ear, turning your palm down to face the floor. Now here again, drishti is really important, where you're bringing your gaze. So bringing your gaze to the floor will always be the easiest option for your head, neck, and shoulders. Bringing your gaze up to the sky will be a little bit more challenging for balance and also for the head, neck, and shoulders. So you go where you're going to go this morning. Hanging out and breathing. With your next breath, rise back up to warrior two and check out that right knee. Make sure it's in line with the center of your foot and start to stretch the right leg long. So your legs are long, your arms are reaching out to the sides in a T. Begin to reach your right hand forward and down for that block now. And reach your left hand up to the sky, coming into triangle pose. Now if you don't have a block there, you're just gonna hover your hand. Imagine that you could drag your legs apart. And if you can't quite reach the block, you can bring it up to the highest level. You can slightly kick that left heel back so your toes turn slightly in, and that'll give you a little bit more access to the floor. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. With your next breath in, tap into your core, keeping all your limbs long. Rise up and turn your right toes in the same direction as your left toes. Turn your left toes out to the left and place the block outside the left foot. Or again, if you don't have a block, that's totally cool too. Bend your knee, warrior two. Extend your arms and feel a little hug between your legs. So imagine that you could squeeze your heels together like you could fold the whole sticky mat into the middle of you. A lot of engagement here. Knee is over the heel, knee is pointed towards the center of the foot. Bring your left elbow down to your left thigh, coming into that Parsva Konasana extended side angle. So you can stretch your right arm up, or you can stretch it up and above your ear. Hanging out here, keep that right leg long and engaged. Pinky toe of the right foot reaches into the floor. Imagine that you had a friendly hand reaching for your right hand and stretching you long as you anchor down into your right foot. Keep your right side body super long. And begin to rise back up to warrior two. Take a look at that left knee before you stretch your leg long. We want it staying in line with the center of the foot. So stretching the left leg long, again, you have more access to the floor if you kick that right heel slightly back or toes slightly in. Begin to reach forward and down for that block. Coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. And you can reach your right hand up. Maybe you want to reach your arm up and above your ear like we did in the first shape, in extended side angle. Drag your feet away from one another to feel a little more space through the hips and sacrum. Draw your belly in and expand out in all directions. And with your next breath in, tap into your core, rise up, all your limbs long, turn your left toes in the same direction as your right, and interlace your hands behind your back. Now, if that's not accessible for you, you can just bring your hands to your hips when you do this. You can grab your little hand towel or a strap and reach your hands back, shoulders back. Take a breath and fold in with a nice shoulder rinse added in. Maybe shake your head out, maybe separate your teeth, maybe say blah, 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 or go tribe, or whatever it is for you this morning. And release your hands to the floor, hang out there for a few breaths. Begin to lift up halfway and start to heel toe your feet in towards the center of your mat. Coming into forward bend. Again, bend your knees deeply, bow forward, shake your head out, no, and yes. Keep those knees a little soft. Again, be that barista or that sommelier of your body, bend and stretch your legs. Float your hands up to your waist, elbows to the sky, tap into your core and rise to stand. And Ceca's going to turn and face the front of the mat. We'll work a little bit here with balance this morning. Lift and spread your left toes. And really make sure that left knee is unlocked. Bring your hands to your waist, or you can bring your hands to heart center, and find a focal point on the floor ahead of you, something that's not moving. Begin to lift that right knee. Bending the knee, lift your foot away from the floor. Now maybe your knee comes straight out of your hip, maybe not. Maybe you're floating that knee, that foot just above the floor. Maybe you can stretch your leg long like Ceca is, or maybe you're just playing with balance this morning and that's hard enough. So keeping the knee bent. Notice how the more you hug into your middle, how much core plays a part in this balance. Relax your shoulders. Sometimes we stop breathing when we're standing on one foot. By all means, do not stop breathing. Keep breathing. And slowly release that foot to the floor. Lift and spread your right toes now. And feel grounded through the sole of the right foot. Keep your right knee unlocked. And begin to bring those left toes away from the floor. Bend your left knee. And again, maybe you're barely floating those toes away from the floor. Maybe your knee is coming out of your hip. Maybe you can stretch your leg long. And long doesn't mean that your legs are in the shape of an L. Long might mean that your heel is barely hovering away from the floor. Notice your core, notice your breath. Notice if your shoulders are relaxed or not. And begin to slowly release that left foot down to the floor. Shake your legs out. That's hard to do. Balancing. Nice job. And turn and come back into a downward facing dog. And just come back into your breath. Maybe flow through, connecting your breath and your movement again. Begin to extend your right leg. And again, you can do this from three-legged dog. You can do this from three-legged table pose. Take a breath in here. Stack your right hip over your left hip. And maybe bend your knee, or you can keep your leg long. You can circle your toes. You can write your name in the air with your toes or your knee. Just start to wake up the whole right side body and right hip. And get out any of those last pops and cracks that might still be hanging out in your body. And then balance your hips out again, so your toes turn down. Lengthen your leg. Curl in and step through to a high lunge. Keep that back heel lifted away from the floor. So if you are feeling completely balance challenged this morning, you are more than welcome to bring that left heel to the floor more in a warrior one shape. But if you can play a little bit with me this morning, keep that left heel up. Bring your hands to your right thigh. Find your balance. Maybe bring your gaze slightly forward of your right foot. Maybe reach your arms up. Keep your focus at the floor or at a point on the wall in front of you. Keep squeezing and scissoring the legs together. Now we're coming into a twist, and you have a couple of options for that. You can fold your hands just over to the right hip like we did earlier. Yep, and just look to the right. Maybe you want to bring the left hand down inside of your right foot and extend your right hand to the sky. There's your second option. And you can even drop your left knee if that feels like a best option. Your third and final option would be high lunge with a prayer twist. So you'll cross that left elbow over your right thigh and bring your hands to prayer. Again, find a focal point here and breathe. Feel your belly expand and contract. Keep scissoring those legs together. Always the option to drop that left knee whenever you need it. One more breath. Take your gaze to the earth, step back to plank pose. Right foot meets the left. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, or just come back to dog, or child, or table. Moving through your flow, we'll meet in child or downward facing dog or table pose. Hanging out there for 3 breaths. This time we'll extend the left leg long. Press out through the sole of your foot. Just like we did on the right side earlier, I want you to imagine that you're standing on the right foot, but keep your knee a little unlocked. Pressing long as if that left leg is floating up in space, reaching your hands down into the earth so you're getting even longer with each breath from the hands to the left heel. Feel that space, that freedom. Now stack your left hip over your right hip. And again, maybe bend your knee, maybe circle your toes in the air or your knee in the air. Make some space. That's really all we're doing when we come to the mat. We're making space in our bodies, we're making space mentally, physically, emotionally, and oftentimes spiritually. Just listening for whatever comes in. Extending long now through the left foot, square your hips up, curl your knee in, and step through to that high lunge again. Now remembering the options, you can always bring that back heel down, you can always bring your knee down. Bring your hands up to your left thigh, rise up, stack head over heart over hips. Maybe reach your arms up to the sky, palms face. Soften your shoulders and breathe. Powerful pose, Alanasana, high lunge. So keep squeezing your feet towards the center of your mat, towards each other. Tap into the strength of your core. You have those 3 options again for the twist. So hands come across to your left hip, right hand to the floor, left hand to the sky, or prayer twist. So Ceca's demoing all of those options for you. And once you find the option that works best for you, we're hanging out here for about 5 breaths. So you know you always have that option to drop the right knee. Two more breaths. One more breath. Look down to the earth, frame your foot. Again, we're stepping back to a plank pose with the opportunity to flow through or to simply come to child's pose, which is where we will all meet, whether you're flowing through or not. Hang out, take a couple of breaths, and let yourself settle into your mat, into your own private island, to your tiny house. Begin to rise back up to table and step yourself forward, coming into forward bend. Just walk, crawl yourself forward. Bring your hands to your hips and rise on up to stand. All right, so we're gonna come to the wall now, and if you don't have a wall accessible that you can put a foot on, it's literally just putting the sole of your foot on a wall. You're gonna use your strap. So rather than putting your foot on a wall, you could loop the strap on the ball of your foot, much like we did on the earth earlier. So Ceca's kind of demonstrating that now. So you've got this option. So if you want to play with balance this morning, that's an option. If you'd prefer to come to the wall and enjoy the stretch and not have to worry about your balance this morning, you're going to put your right foot on the wall instead of in the loop of a strap. And kind of pay attention to where that left foot is, because we're going to flip this pose around in a few moments. So pressing into the wall with the right foot, and again, maybe your right foot might not be as high as Ceca's is. Your right foot might be a little lower. You might just be on the ball of your foot. You might not be able to get the whole ball and heel down. Yeah. So wherever you are, you can bring your foot back up, Ceca. Extend your arms up. So you've got this wide open pose. Anchor down into the left foot, right foot at the wall, both knees slightly micro bent. So not locking into knees or elbows. And breathe. Keeping your focus at the wall, begin to float your left hand to the wall. Now if you have the strap, you're bringing both straps into the left hand. Float your right hand behind you for a twist. Standing tall from the left foot all the way up to the head, twisting around the sushumna, the spine, the central channel of your body. Keep breathing, expanding and contracting the belly. Slowly start to unwind your twist. Float both arms up, gaze back at the wall. Bend into your right knee to float your right leg away from the wall. Yep. There we go. And give your legs a little shake, arms a little shake. And we'll do the other side. So the right foot stays on the floor. Lift and spread those toes. Bend your left knee and put the sole of your left foot on the wall, wherever it lands. And again, if you're using that strap, you're going to strap the ball of your left foot. One strap in each hand. Wherever you are, find a focal point, a drishti. If you're in the middle of the room, that's even more important than being on the wall. Stand tall from the sole of the right foot to the crown of the head, keeping both knees slightly micro bent. Reach your arms up. Take a breath in here, keeping your gaze at the wall for now, or something in front of you. If you've got the strap, you're putting both of them in your right hand. Reach your right hand towards the wall, your left hand towards the back of your mat, coming into an easy twist. Now, if you're standing on one foot, easy twist is relative, right? So you've got those straps in your right hand, you're reaching your left hand back, opening up for a little twist. Keep breathing. Again, we're standing on one leg, whether we have the wall or not, we're still standing on one leg. So keep breathing. Keep noticing. One more long breath in and out. And we'll slowly begin to unwind. Reaching the left hand, right hand back up to the sky. Turn to face the wall. And bend into that left knee. Push yourself off the wall. And maybe take a little wall dog here. So place your hands at the wall, bend your knees, creating a long L shape in your body. Bend and stretch. Now notice where your feet are right now. And if you've got a block or something that you can put down next to one of your feet, that's going to help you measure out your pose. Yeah. And slowly walk yourself towards the wall and turn yourself around. So where you put that block or whatever you put down on the floor, that will be the stance for your L pose here. So about the length of your legs, and you still might have to futz. There's no absolute science to it. We always end up futzing. So Ceca's going to bring her other block in so she has support under both hands. So we're doing a little warrior 3 this morning. We've been building up to this. And is that where your block was at the beginning?
Yeah.
You'll probably move them forward. That's where your feet need to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So wherever you placed your little diggy down there, you're going to place your feet there now. And then you can move the blocks forward. If you have an ottoman or the side of a couch, you can use that too. So she'll bring her hands down to those 2 blocks, soften into her knees, and float her right leg back towards the wall. Toes turned down. Ooh, that worked out pretty well, didn't it? All right, so her left foot is underneath her knee, underneath her hip. Her hands are on the blocks. You can also put your hands on the earth. We're floating those limbs really long, but keeping the micro bend through both limbs. And hanging out here for a couple of breaths. Maybe she can turn her toes down to face the floor a tiny bit more. Yeah, she can look back there and check them out. Tap into the strength of her core a little bit more. Maybe she can float her hands up to her heart center, Anjali Mudra, pressing into both surfaces.
Maybe.
Or maybe she can float her arms wide like wings. Maybe she can frame her face and bring her triceps right next to her ears. Maybe not. So you go, this is your tiny house, your little island this morning. So again, you've got some control here. Be where you're going to be. One more breath. And slowly release. Release your leg from the wall, bend and stretch your legs a couple of times. Nice job. And we'll go to the other side now. So keeping the right foot on the floor, knee unlocked, she'll float her left leg back to the wall. And pressing into the sole of that foot, again, maybe she can widen that left inner thigh to the sky so her toes turn down a little bit more. Keeping both knees unlocked, she's got a little time to play now. So maybe hands to the heart. Maybe she keeps her hands on that block or that ottoman or the corner of the couch. Maybe she can float to airplane arms or stretch her hands back towards the wall behind her. Palms turned down, so her chest is really open and broad, like she's flying. Beautiful. Takes a lot of core to hold this. So tap into the strength of your core, into your legs. Keep breathing. Take one more breath. And slowly release your hands back down. Release your leg back down. I'm going to have her walk back towards the wall and put those sitting bones at the wall for a forward bend. So she's going to walk back there, and the wall will kind of give her some feedback so she can sit her booty back there at the wall, bend her knees a little bit, widen the inner thighs, like she could tack her inner thighs towards the wall, and just hang out for a couple breaths here. And begin to step away from the wall so that you don't jettison yourself forward. And bring your hands up to your hips and rise all the way up. Do a little bit of marching here, so just marching one knee up and down. And how do your legs feel?
Good.
Tired?
Strong.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then I'm going to have Ceca come all the way back down onto her back, and she can set those blocks off to the side. If you too have Jim Tomey socks or a sweatshirt or anything else that you want to put on this morning, feel free to grab those as we come down to the earth. And draw your knees into your chest and rock and roll a little bit from side to side. And reach for your big toes with your peace fingers, or hands wrap around behind the thighs, or maybe your outer edges of the feet for a happy baby pose, Ananda Balasana. So whatever you can reach, or just stay with a hug. Draw your knees back in towards your chest. Keep your right knee in and extend your left leg. So now this time you can either extend your leg down on the earth, or you can bend your knee and put the sole of your foot on the earth. And just hang out right there for a moment. Take your right knee in your left hand and cross your body with your right knee for a twist. Now you can still keep that left knee bent if you're not feeling it and it's challenging for your low back to twist with that left leg long. So you do you, take the option that works. Maybe you want to take your gaze to your right hand, maybe not, maybe that's hard on your shoulder and you can just put your hand on your ribs. Yeah, a little easier for your shoulder. Enjoy the earth and your breath and being with us this morning. Happy to see that Melanie is with us from Heart Song Yoga in Medina. Hi, Melanie. And that Christine, my friend from Florida, is watching this morning. That Keith, our webmaster and birthday boy of I won't say how many years. Happy 50th birthday, Keith, is watching this morning, and my mom is with us. So we've got all kinds of people watching this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. Slowly begin to unwind your twist and lengthen your right leg, or don't, and hug your left knee into your chest. Maybe you want to circle those toes in the air, get those last pops and cracks And again, you can lengthen the left leg or bend it as you use your left hand to draw your right knee over to the left. So we're taking a little supine twist. And again, you can take your gaze out towards a long left arm. You can place your left hand on your left ribs if your shoulder's a little cranky. And hanging out and breathing. Enjoying this time on your own private island, your own tiny house. Decluttering your body without buying bins. One more breath in and out here. And slowly begin to unwind your twist. And hug both knees back in. Lengthen your legs long, reach your arms above your head again. Tense up everything in your body, make everything engaged, and then let all of that go. Do that again. Prepare with a big in-breath. Stretch everything long. And let all of that go. Hanging out here. Notice what you notice about the quality of your place on the earth right now. Maybe you would like to stay right here and rest. Maybe bending your knees is a little more kind for your low back. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips and let your knees kiss at the middle of the mat. Perhaps bringing hands to the belly or a hand to the heart and the belly so you can reconnect to your breath is the best option for you. To all of our yogi friends who are watching us near and far, you can stay right here for as long as you like. I'm going to bring Ceca up, so she'll curl her knees in towards her chest. And rock and roll to sit, or roll to one side to press up to sit. Close your eyes. Flip your palms up and place the backs of your hands on your knees. Roll your shoulders back, sitting up super tall, head over the heart, over the hips. Curl the corners of your mouth up. And taking your gaze to the earth, or close your eyes. A few words from Elizabeth Lesser. We have little control over the outer weather patterns as we make our way through the landscape of a life. But we can become masters of the inner landscape. We can use what happens on the outside to change the way we function on the inside. Draw your hands to heart center, setting an intention for your day today. Knowing you can let go of some of that control on the outside and focus on what's happening in your inner landscape today. We hope that this practice helped to fill you and to bring you to a sweet place from which to move forward out of your tiny house, off of your private island. Thanks so much for joining Ceca and I today. With hands at heart center, let us bow to one another as we say,